What's up, everybody? It's your man Gillis the Kid. I am back with another online review. This time we're going to be comparing all three Galaxy phones. Yes, you heard me right. It's three phones this time. It looks like Samsung is going down the route that Apple did. We're on Samsung's website right now. Now, this isn't a review of the actual device. I'm going to have that coming up pretty soon, but I just want to show you guys the specs. And a lot of people ask me, which phone should I pre-order come March 8th when it's released? So we're going to take a look at the specs here. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is the design and the colors. The Samsung Galaxy S10e, it's the smaller of the phones. It's going to run you about $750, and it comes in prism white, which is like an iridescent color. Then there's black, green, blue, and canary yellow. Then you have the S10, which comes in the white, black, green, and blue. And then there's the S10 Plus, which comes in the white, black, green, blue, ceramic white, and the ceramic black. So if you want that ceramic finish, you're going to have to get the S10 Plus. And I believe it's a different storage option too. Now, these are the dimensions. I hate to compare the phones to Apple, but I'm going to have to. Now, the S10e, that's a 5.8 inch display, and that's more comparable to an iPhone 10. So if you have an iPhone 10, you got the same size display as the S10e. And then you have the S10, which is a 6.1 inch display, and that's more comparable to an iPhone 10R. So if you have an iPhone 10R and you're thinking about switching over, you're going to get the same size screen with the S10. And then you have the S10 Plus, which has a 6.4 inch display, and that's more comparable to an iPhone XS Max. Those are the dimensions right there. So let's look at the display here. Because Samsung, they have a new display. It's called Infinity O. Now, the S10e, that has the 5.8 inch Full HD Plus Dynamic AMOLED display. And the S10 has the 6.1 Quad HD Plus display. And then the S10 Plus has the 6.4 Quad HD Dynamic AMOLED display. Now, all screens, it's Super AMOLED, but the S10e is going to have a slightly lower resolution, and all the phones are HDR10 Plus certified. Now, HDR10, it's still in beta format now, but I just want you to know that these phones do support that. We're gonna look down. One of the main differences this year is the camera. The S10e, it has one camera on the front. That's a 10 megapixel selfie camera. And then the S10 has a 10 megapixel selfie camera. They both have live focus. Now, the S10 Plus has two dual camera systems on the front. So if you're going to be taking selfies, that's probably the phone you're going to want to get if you're really into, photo formatting and stuff like that. It has a 10 megapixel selfie camera and a 8 megapixel RGB depth camera. Now, a lot of people, you can go on this website and look at this yourself, but I like to go on and explain everything to people because not a lot of people understand photography and different type of apertures and stuff like that. Now on the rear, the S10e has a dual camera system with optical image stabilization. That first camera right there with the number 1, that's the 12 megapixel wide angle camera. That's the telephoto camera, and it has an aperture of 1.5, which means if you're in the dark, it's going to let more light in for you. And it also has a 2.4 mode aperture. So if you're in bright sunlight, your pictures are going to be very, very bright and crisp. And number 2, it's also, as you can see right here, that's a 16 megapixel ultra wide camera. And I'll explain that in a bit. Now the S10, here in the middle, it has 3 cameras. You got your 12 megapixel telephoto camera, that's number 1 right there. And number 2 in the middle, that's your wide angle camera with optical image stabilization. And then number 3, you're going to have the ultra wide camera. So there's wide camera and ultra wide, which basically means if you take a photo vertically and horizontally, you're going to get more photo on the sides and on the top. And I'll give you an example of what that's going to look like. And then the S10 Plus, that also has 3 cameras. It has the 12 megapixel telephoto camera, that's number 1. And in the middle, number 2, that has the 12 megapixel wide angle camera lens. And then number 3, it has a 16 megapixel ultra wide camera. So it's basically the same. The S10 and the S10 Plus basically have the same rear camera. The only difference is the front. We're gonna go down, and there you see they have all the different camera modes like Panorama, Pro. They have the bokeh effect, which basically means that your photo is going to look blurred, and it'll have like a spin effect to it. They also have super slow-mo, just like the S9 of last year, and the hyperlapse. They have the AR emojis, all that good stuff. And then moving along to video resolution, you're going to have 4K ultra high definition video recording at 60 frames per second. So that is the absolute highest you can shoot in video. Now the S10 and the S10 Plus, they're going to have 4K video on the front. So if you're shooting 4K, you can shoot it from the front of the camera now. That's a major, major go. And it has all the different zooms and stuff like that. As of battery, the S10e has the 3100 milliamp battery. The S10 has the 34 milliamp battery. And then the S10 Plus has the 4100 milliamp battery. Excuse me. So if you're into video games and stuff like that, the S10 Plus is going to have the biggest battery out of them all. And it also has like a cooling, it's a cooling mechanism in the phone that's going to keep it nice and cool while you use all that power. One of the other new features, they call it improved wireless charging. Samsung is calling it wireless power share. So you can basically charge 2 phones on top of each other if it has that ability. Samsung brought out these new earbuds called the Samsung Buds that they're actually giving away for free if you pre-order the phone. And you can charge your earbuds in the case right on top of your phone in the back. So that's a pretty cool feature they got there. It also has a Bluetooth 5.0, so you can connect to 2 different devices. And these phones have the new 7 nanometer 64-bit octa-core processor. Some phones, depending on which country and carrier you have, it has a 8 nanometer processor. But they're really not too much of a difference. They're still going to be super fast. Samsung always gets the best of the best, and I've never had any problems as far as performance and speed goes when it comes to the chipsets. Now moving along to the memory, the S10e, which is the smaller phone, that's going to have 6 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage. And then there's going to be a version with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. The S10 is going to have 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage. And then there's going to be a version with 8 gigs of RAM with 512 gigs of storage. And the S10 Plus will have 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage. There's going to be a version with 8 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. They also have the ceramic version that has a whopping 12 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. That is absolutely insane. And keep in mind that these phones, they still support micro SD card slots. So if you get a phone with a terabyte, it's probably going to go up to another 512. So you're looking at about a terabyte and a half, which is absolutely insane. But I mean, you know, if you're the kind of person that keeps everything on your device, you never know. You never know how much storage you're going to use. Some phones have dual SIM. They call it a hybrid SIM slot. So you can have 1 nano SIM and 1 nano SIM or 1 micro SD card slot up to 512 gigabytes. So that's a major go if you're going to be traveling out of the country. A lot of people like dual SIM unlocked phones because when you get to another country, all you got to do is pop in one of their SIM cards. Out of the box, it's going to be running Android Pie. I believe Samsung is still going to give you those AKG headphones, which are very nice. And we're going to be moving down. Here's another question I get about the water resistant. This phone is not waterproof. It's water resistant. And it tells you right here, based on test conditions for submersion in up to 1.5 meters of fresh water for up to 30 minutes. Not advised for beach or pool use. Water or dust damage is not covered by warranty. So basically what that means is if you drop your phone in fresh water for up to 30 minutes, you can pull it out and it should be okay. Anything after 30 minutes in fresh water, the seal will start to deteriorate, and that's how you get water damage. And Samsung is basically telling you, you know, if you drop your phone in a pool, obviously a pool has chlorine in it. So that can eat away at the seal after a while and cause water damage. Now, the beach and the ocean, that's something totally different. You never know what's in that water. So, you know, if you drop your phone at the beach, I mean, good luck finding it there. And they give you, you know, they have all the sensors and stuff like that. Now, this phone features something called an ultrasonic fingerprint. Now, there was a phone called the OnePlus 6T. I'll drop that down into the description so you'll know what I'm talking about. But the OnePlus 6T, along with a couple of other phones that came out this year, they have an in-display fingerprint sensor. Now, their fingerprint sensor, uses light. Samsung's fingerprint sensor uses sound. Uh, if you're a fan of the James Bond movies, James Bond, he would like cut the criminal's hand off and still use it as a to get access to a door. So basically, the sound will detect blood flow too. So God forbid if you get your finger cut off, nobody's gonna be able to take your finger and still access your device. So I mean that's a really cool feature using sound waves instead of light. And oh, they still got the Bixby key here. And that is about it. They have like the facial recognition too. The only time I really used facial recognition was on my Apple devices, like my iPad Pro. They have Samsung Pay. Yeah, that is pretty much it. So I just want to show you the camera real quick. We're going to go a little bit more in depth with the camera. They say 5 lenses. I guess if you add them all up, it is 5 lenses. Now, as you can see right here, this is the S10 Plus. So on the front right here, you get that 2 cameras. So the first one is the 10 megapixel, and the second one is the 8 megapixel. And they also shoot 4K video too. So that is a major go. I'm guessing a lot of people is probably going to go for the S10 Plus. For some reason, Samsung is marketing the S10 Plus over the other phones. So I guess that's the one they want you to go for too. And then right on the back, you got the 3 cameras. The first one is the 12 megapixel telephoto camera. Then in the middle, you have the wide angle and then the ultra wide angle. I can't wait to test that out. So, this is like a blogger's phone dream. And when you add them up, yeah, I guess it does come to 5 cameras. They got the dual apertures and everything like that. So the 2.4 aperture, that's going to be a really sharp and bright daylight. And then they have the 1.5 aperture mode, which is going to brighten up your photos in low light, which is basically at night. And then we're going to take a look at these ultra wide photos right here. So as you can see, once you take a picture, it's going to be in telephoto mode. So this is what your picture is going to look like. And then when you go to wide angle, now you can see more of the photo, horizontally and vertically. And then they have the ultra wide, which basically, I mean, look at that. That looks amazing. Look how much of the photo you can see. So that's just a little example of how the camera works. Obviously, when I get the actual device, I can check it out a little bit better, take some real photos and videos, and then show you guys how it works. But that's all I have for now. The S10e is going to run you about $750. The S10 is going to be $900 for the 128 gigs. And then the S10 Plus is going to be $1,000. So, and they go higher. The price rises with the different storage options you get. So that's absolutely insane. I don't know why Samsung did what Apple did with the whole pricing thing, but the down payments are going to be outrageous if you're looking for one of those higher storage options. But I guess that's what it's come to now in the wireless industry. Really expensive phones. But let me know what you think. I'm probably going to go with the S10 because it's not too small and it's not too big. I know a lot of people like big screens now. And like I said before, that S10 Plus is going to give you that really, really good selfie camera. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm going to have the full video of the S10 coming up pretty soon. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.